What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and it is a good morning to everybody out there in Arizona. Let us know where you're tuning in from today. Thank you to everyone who's already smashing up the likes. I did a scheduled live stream this time, so people had time to prepare to get on this. We're going to talk about things that people wish they knew before moving to Arizona. People coming from the outside, there's a list of things that most people think you would assume, and then there's some things that you'd be surprised that are on there. So that's what we're going to talk about. I am now offering one-on-one travel coaching as well as relocation coaching for those of you who are thinking about coming to Arizona and you want some advice from someone who's from Arizona and you don't want to just have to talk to a realtor or someone who's just trying to sell you something. All I'm going to do is get on the phone. You pay me the consultation fee, and I'm just going to tell you what I think. So click the link down below if you want to book a call with me or do an email setup. So we'll see you on those. Let's get into the list, everybody. So I see you guys out there. Someone said, all right, everyone about that time. Oregon native, Arizona. Nice. So the very first thing is unexpected microclimates. Arizona has a lot of different climates. So people coming from outside, they think we're just a desert. They think that we just have the Valley of the Sun and Tucson and cactuses, but they're surprised when they find out we've got the White Mountains. We've got high deserts up in the chaparrals. We've got even volcanic lava fields up there in Sunset Crater. We've got alpine country way up there, above a mile high, going up over 10,000 feet elevation, Mount Humphrey, San Francisco Peak. Then you've got, I think Mount Baldy's almost up there, Mount Baldy being the one in White Mountains. But people are really kind of surprised when they find out how much forest we have, not just out there in the Bradshaws, not just out there in Mingus Mountain, the White Mountains, but it's quite impressive to find out just how diverse our climate is. Bisbee, Arizona, almost 5,000 feet, claims to have the best weather in the world. If you haven't been down to Bisbee, you'll see it when you're driving right down the road there where Phelps Dodge used to have the old mining company. Right there on the wall, it says Bisbee, Arizona, the place with the best weather in the world. Hey, go up there and see what's up. Maybe you'll find out if you really like out there in Bisbee. They haven't updated the place in a while, but people are surprised when they get out there and they explore Arizona. But the thing is, people come out here and they expect this dry heat to be better than humidity. Well, the dry heat is not quite as comfortable as many people think, and it goes on for a long time. People think, oh, I'm getting out of Florida, I'm getting out of South Carolina, I'm getting out of Louisiana, and they're coming out to Arizona and they're going to escape the humidity, but then they find out the dry heat's like an oven. So it kind of has its own wear and tear on your body. And, people are trading in the snow in Minnesota or Chicago or back east, and they come out to Arizona and they think they're going to have a more active lifestyle. And then they realize in the summertime, you can't really go outside from probably June until August in the daytime for more than 10 to 20 minutes. I mean, you're outside at 12 o'clock in the afternoon for more than 20 minutes, you're going to be really feeling it. I mean, that sun catches up to you, and it's kind of like a creeper sun. It just creeps up on you. But another thing that surprises people because of this is the snowbirds. So when they move out here, you'll notice from about October, maybe November until about May, it seems like that's when the Canadians are in town. I call them the Canadians because a lot of them are Canadian. Coming from Calgary and stuff, but they'll come down here and they'll be there. And then all of a sudden they leave, and all of a sudden you can drive again without all the congestion. It's like the whole city just kind of releases itself and you can breathe again because it's easier to drive on the roads. Even the storage units, prices go up. So like if you're going to do storage, the worst time to do storage is during the summertime because that's when all the snowbirds put all their stuff in storage. The best time to do a storage is going to be in the winter time. For those of you who didn't know, that's because of the snowbirds. Snowbirds are people who come into town to take advantage of our beautiful weather from about November until May. All right. So the next thing is people are surprised when they find out there's a lot more to the Grand Canyon state than just the Grand Canyon in terms of just natural beauty. Obviously up there, for those of you who watched our last video we did a full Arizona tribute video. If you haven't seen it, you should really watch it. It's over an hour long. You just put it on your TV and you let it play this afternoon. You just let it play. It's got nice music. and you could see all of the beautiful landscapes and surroundings all around Arizona. I highly recommend you guys do that at some point in time. Just let it play on your TV. It's Aerial Arizona. It shows you all around, but there's more to Arizona than just the Grand Canyon. I mean, we've got beautiful Sedona. We've got Antelope Canyon. We've got Canyon de Chelly. We've got Southern Arizona and the Chiricahuas. We've got Sonoran Desert down there. We've got the Saguaro National Park. We've got caves. We've got the Painted Desert. There's so much beautiful places around Arizona, and it's much more than the Grand Canyon. Don't get me wrong. The Grand Canyon is amazing. It's beautiful. We've also got lots of wildlife. People are amazed. We've got bison, we've got deer, we've got elk, we've got bears, we've got wildcats, we've got pumas. There's a lot out here in Arizona. We've got these javelinas, these wild pigs. People are just blown away by how much biodiversity is in a desert, and a lot more to Arizona than just the Grand Canyon. So that's something that I've always heard people say, wow, Arizona is loaded with things to do. I mean, you could almost say it might be one of the most beautiful states in the country. Another thing that surprises people is how outdoor friendly it is because of that. So they don't expect there to be so much activities for those who are very adventurous. A lot of people, they just move to Arizona and they stay in Phoenix, and then, they do some golfing, they do some gym, and then that's basically their routine. But the people who are thriving in Arizona, they're the ones who on the weekends are going up to the White Mountains, they're going up to Payson, they're going up to the Mogollon Rim, they're going up to the Verde Valley, they're going down south to the Chiricahuas, they're going down to the mountains, and they're getting out and exploring pretty much every weekend. They got off-road vehicles, they're doing camping at the lake, at the river, at the Verde, at the lakes up on the Mogollon Rim. They're going out to Alamo Lake, they go down to Patagonia, they go down to Tubac. So many places. People are blown away at how beautiful and amazing and how many places there are around Arizona to explore and get to know. And it's really amazing. I mean, the only way you can really know is when you start to think, okay, I'm going to take this guy's advice on living in Arizona now. I'm going to find out where he says are the top 100 best places to visit in Arizona, because we've made the list. It's I think it's 88 best places to visit in Arizona. Go through it and see which ones interest you. It's like a bucket list. You just go through it like a bucket list, and you're like, been there, been there, been there. And then what you end up realizing is, wow, my life is pretty good out here in Arizona. And I mean, you can go from really bored just living in Phoenix to all of a sudden just being like, wow, life is good out here, because you become active. It's that active lifestyle and outdoor friendly. I mean, there's not too many places out there in the country, I think, where you can get that much activity. Maybe Florida. I guess you could unlock Texas that way, but unlocking Arizona is really amazing. Thank you to everyone who's crushing up the likes. I see you guys in the comments. We're going to turn it over to the live chat right after I finish this right here. But thanks to everyone who's smashing up the likes. I see y'all. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Yeah, Drucifer, Larry, I see you guys. Princess Michelle, nice to see you on the live stream again. Sorry if I'm not responsive to all those messages just yet. I will be later. Another thing that surprises people that HOAs are popular all around the country. It's not like something that's just exclusive to Arizona, but they get out here and they're like, wow, why are these HOAs everywhere? And they're like a tax on top of your mortgage. It's like a tax on top of your tax. I was having a conversation with the tax person, and I said, it's like paying a tax to pay my taxes, to prepare my taxes. It's like you have to pay a tax accountant thousands of dollars, which is a tax on top of the taxes. And then with your home, you got to pay property tax, but then you got to pay HOA tax, and then you got to pay your mortgage. And it's like, man, they're catching you. I mean, I don't know how many bills you have every single month, but it really starts to add up. And everyone's like, these HOAs, they catch people off guard. I noticed that on this channel, especially. People are like, I moved out here, I got stuck into an HOA, I'll never do it again. So I would say that's something to pay attention to, and we can talk about that on a call. If you guys set up a call, the one-on-one relocation coaching, we can talk about how to find ways around the HOAs, or getting stuck in a situation where you're paying $250 a month on top of your mortgage for HOA. Geez, that's really exhausting, isn't it? Another thing that surprises people is the high utility bills in the summertime. This is one reason why I discourage people from getting a two-story house, because when you get a two-story house, your air conditioning has to work all the way up into the second floor. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's better to have a one-story house to save money on that electric bill. The electric out here is so expensive. I mean, it could get upwards $200 to $300 easy per month. Okay, so if you got an HOA and you got high electric, a 2-story house, you're looking at $600 just right there on top of your mortgage. I mean, people are blown away how expensive Arizona is. That's another thing that throws people off is how expensive life has become in Arizona. In 2012, or I'd say around like 2012, everyone was like trying to move to Arizona because they're like, hey, pretty good lifestyle. You can save money. It's not too expensive. Now look at it. I mean, people are really exhausted with how expensive it is. I get it. It's like that in other places. I mean, I think you could save money in Kansas or Oklahoma or Mississippi, Alabama. I don't think it's as expensive as Arizona. But Arizona surprises people because they're like, why is the desert as expensive as, Maui, Hawaii? Like someone was saying the other day, they're like, I was looking at rentals in Maui and I found a rental that's the same size and same price as it is in Scottsdale. But the only difference is I'd be living in Maui opposed to living in Scottsdale. I don't know. If you had Maui or Scottsdale and you could live anywhere because you're digital nomad, where do you think you're going to pick? Probably Maui because, I mean, come on, let's be real. If you can live in Maui for $2,200 a month in a condo, I mean, it's a little bit better than living for $2,200 a month in North Phoenix, right? I mean, let's be real. So that does throw people off. I'm not hating on Arizona. I mean, Arizona is a beautiful place, but come on. How do you beat Maui, Hawaii, right? It's like kind of common sense. I mean, paradise. I mean, I think Maui's like the #1 most beautiful place in the world. It's rated on TripAdvisor. If you haven't been there, you should go. Anyway, another thing that people talk about and that surprises them is how much dependency people in Arizona have on cars. I mean, you pretty much can't live in Arizona without a vehicle. Whereas you can live in other places without a vehicle. You could live in New York City, you could live in Boston, you don't need a vehicle. In Arizona, I would say a car is pretty much essential. Does anyone out there who lives in Arizona right now watching this? I mean, do you have a car? Do you think you could live without a car in Arizona? Sure. I mean, but public transportation is the thing with public transportation. The buses exist, the light rail exists, and ensure it can work, but it's slow. And Phoenix is very sprawling. It's spread out everywhere. Same with Tucson. I mean, Tucson has an even more limited light rail system than Phoenix. And I mean, I don't see how you could live in Flagstaff or Yuma without a car. So, I mean, pretty much the whole state, you need a vehicle. So you're very dependent on vehicles in Arizona. It's car essential because public transportation is limited. Another thing that kind of surprises people, Arizona ranks really low in terms of education. We don't have a lot of funding for that. And so because of that, Arizona for the last, ever since I can remember, I mean, ever since even in the 90s, Arizona was always at the bottom of public education. They've always said, try and get your kids into a private school. So charter schools or Montessori or like Brophy Prep, St. Mary's, those were always popular. But if you were putting your kid into a public education in Arizona, I mean, it's one of the worst in the country. People are always surprised. They're like, wow, why is Arizona so low on the education radar? I mean, you'd think like Mississippi, Alabama, or something like that would be lower, but Arizona's way down there. You can look it up. I mean, you'd expect us to move up at some point in time, but I guess we just don't have the funding. Another thing that kind of surprises people is the water constant concern. They're like, well, why are they paving the desert in all directions? Why is Phoenix always like top 5 most booming population centers in the country if they're short on water? Well, so people are always kind of like, they come out here and they're like, whoa, you mean to tell me that I might have to actually pay attention to the water crisis? The water conservation is a constant, serious subject that comes up, especially when they're not getting enough snow or rain in the mountains. That subject kind of has, you have to know about this. I mean, people know it's a desert and they kind of hear about it, but they don't really know how serious it is because they think, well, they're building. So why would they not build if it was, I mean, why would they be building if it was a shortage, So it's kind of one of those weird situations. Another thing that kind of surprises people in the neighborhoods, the lack of neighborly interactions. Arizona is a friendly state. I always say this. People from Arizona are very friendly. What ends up happening is people from we're like a transient state. We're not necessarily a transient state, meaning that people come in here and then they leave. They stay for 10 years and then they leave. But it's people coming from all over the world or all over the country, I should say. And they come here and they're on different pages, like someone from Chicago living next to someone from Utah, or someone from Florida living next to someone from Washington. They're just on different pages. So you get this weird dynamic in your neighborhoods. And in some areas, you don't really feel like, especially in the newer communities where everyone literally is from someplace else, you don't really feel like it's a community or neighborly. You know, obviously in the small towns around Arizona, people are extremely friendly, and those are like Arizona locals. But I'm talking about the people who are coming from out of state. Some of you're going to be coming from a different place, and you're not going to be wanting to talk to your neighbors, I guess. I mean, this is what ends up happening. Although when I was living in Santan Valley, I found all of my neighbors to be very friendly. Most of them, to be honest with you, were LDS. There was I would say the people who are in the LDS, they're always very friendly. They might be on a different wavelength. They don't drink alcohol, but they'll drink their Mountain Dew or whatever they drink, and so don't expect to party with them, but they're great neighbors. So I would say that, depending on what part of Phoenix you're in, you're going to have interesting interactions with your neighbors. But the ones in Santan Valley and Southeast Phoenix, Gilbert, very friendly neighbors. But when I moved up to North Phoenix and I was around a bunch of people from elsewhere, I don't think we talked. I don't think anyone really talked. So I'm just saying there is differences. There is differences. Another thing that kind of comes up is short-term rentals are common. So most places, they want to lock you into a long-term, but out here, because of the weather, it's a popular tourist areas. In some areas, short-term rentals can impact the community feel, leading to increases on the weekends. I know that at my condo, on the weekends, around like May or April, the pool gets real full. And, I think it's because people are renting out their condos. So I see you guys in the comments. Thank you, everyone, who's smashing up the likes. Someone said, you left out the AZ Sonora Desert Museum is most of what to see in Arizona needs more recognition for its uniqueness. Oh, yeah, I totally agree. That's in Tucson. If you guys go down to Tucson, check out the Sonoran Desert Museum. That's based on what Irene is recommending, and I totally agree with her. It's really a fantastic museum. Ever since I was a kid, I loved it. I remember I grew up in Cave Creek, which is North Scottsdale, and we went down to the biosphere down in Tucson, an Oracle area. And that was back in the 90s. Remember the movie Biodome with Pauly Shore? It was really cool. Well, we did a field trip down there and we stayed the night in Tucson. And on that field trip, we did Biosphere and we did the Sonoran Desert Museum. And I remember just thinking, man, Tucson is cool as heck, but mostly because of the Sonoran Desert Museum. I wouldn't go there during the summertime. Most of it's outdoors. I would say fall or spring, probably the best time to go down there, probably around October or April, May. You should be all right. You could go down there during the winter, but just keep in mind, it could be a bit brisk. Arizona gets a dry cold. It's like a cold, windy, high desert kind of breeze. It's a little bit nippy, but it's not snow or anything. It's just a little bit nippy. The sun will be out, but you'll need a jacket because you know what I'm talking about with Arizona's high desert wind chill, right? You guys all know what I'm talking about. Someone said, we interact with our neighbors. My hubby is Mr. Sociable, says Princess Michelle. Yeah, you guys are out in Anthem, right? Anthem's actually got a great community vibe. For those of you who have a family, I would really consider moving to Anthem. My sister she lived out there, and then she moves out towards New River. But the area around Anthem, they do sports. I mean, I went out there to go see her kids play Pop Warner. She has 3 different boys, so you're like watching one kid over here, you got another kid over here, and the big one's getting ready to go on when the lights turn on, and on Friday night, and there's parents out there just having a great time. Everybody's all into sports. Anthem is one of the better places that I've seen. I mean, Queen Creek does pretty good, but Anthem's a great place to raise a family for those of you who have a family. Someone says, I'd rather live in Arizona than any other state, 99% better than other places. Yeah. I mean, in the US, yeah. I mean, for me, I just like the weather. It can be hot in the summertime, of course, but I just love the weather. Everywhere is going to have a little bit of crummy weather. I mean, except for San Diego. Supposedly San Diego's got the best weather, some of the best weather in the world, not just in the country. San Diego's got that Mediterranean climate. But San Diego's hop, skip, and a jump away from Phoenix. I mean, if you ever get too hot in Arizona, right now in July, just head down to San Diego. Head down to San Diego for a weekend. Stay in Mission Beach. Cool off a little bit. Get in the ocean. It'll be beautiful down there. Try and go during the week, not the weekend, though. Someone says, oh, someone said, July was fairly cool. Here comes the heat now, though. Yeah. So July was cool compared to what's coming in August. We'll see. I mean, the monsoons, we'll see. We're still waiting on them monsoons, aren't we? The monsoons kind of coming. Anyways, back to the list. So another thing that is kind of, it's spotty. Okay. You can have really good healthcare, but you can also have kind of like limited healthcare in some parts of Arizona. I mean, if you're living around like Mayo Clinic in North Phoenix, North Scottsdale area, you're going to have great medical care. But if you're in places around other parts of the state, you might be like, wow, I don't know, maybe you're in Verde Valley or somewhere else. You might feel like there's not a lot of good options for the healthcare that you need. The best in the state that I've seen, typically it's like Banner, right? Or it would be Mayo Clinic. Mayo, around the Mayo, they have just a few world-class like hospitals, but that's in the area just north of Scottsdale Road. Well, it's off Scottsdale Road and south of the 101. Okay, so that's something to take into consideration. Now, as far as the critters, we did a full video on this, but this usually kind of creeps up on people, the creepy critters, the creepy crawlies. This kind of surprises people because when they come over here, they're like, oh, scorpions. They hear about it, but then they actually see a scorpion in their house. Now, I haven't lived in a place where we had a problem with scorpions. Some scorpions, apparently, they're not migratory. They don't migrate. So if they're there, they're there. And you got to call the Orkin man, and he's going to have to come back 2 or 3 times to get rid of them. But scorpions are something that surprise people, especially if you're living out in the rural areas. You'll see rattlesnakes maybe on your porch, a rattler. Oh, my gosh. Look, if living in the desert, if living in the desert isn't for you, then live in the city. Because if you're going to go out to the foothills, you're going to see the likelihood that you're going to see snakes, black widows, javelinas, coyotes. These are kind of creepy crawlies, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, they're out in the foothills. So if you're in an area where you can see like desert, like wild desert, not just like manicured desert, you'll be all right. It's where you see like natural desert, where when you can walk out in the desert, and you hear coyotes at night, that's a good indication that you're near a desert if you hear the coyotes. But desert critters, they do surprise people, and some people, they move out to the foothills. Might not be for you. Again, this is something that if you're someone who has this concern and we talk on a one-on-one phone call, we'll talk about these things so that you don't have to deal with the scorpions or the critters if that's a situation that worries you. Maybe it's not something at all. Most people are just like, well, you got to take it, you got to roll with it. It's like, if you're living in Florida, you're going to have the same situation no matter where you go. As far as natural disasters, this isn't something that typically surprises people because they're kind of used to it. But one thing that does surprise people is a haboob. I don't think there's any other place in the country that gets these dust storms, these haboobs. It's another thing. You'll see like dust devils. Dust devils are like little mini tornadoes. They just start spinning out there in the summertime. You probably drive around any of these new builds. And right now, like this afternoon, if you drive around any area where there's like empty dirt lot, you'll see some tornado or like some mini dust devils like spinning out there. But dust storms, haboobs, when those are coming, they're really kind of cool to look at, especially if you got a helicopter or a drone and you look at the wall of dust coming in, but you don't want to be inhaling any of that dust that's coming in because, there could be spores of things that are in there. One of the ones is the valley fever that people don't really want to get. Okay. People's dogs too. So they bring the dogs inside when a dust storm happens. Now, how often do dust storms happen? Once every 3 to 5 years, I would say. I mean, they could happen every year. Sometimes we get them back to back, but it seems like a big dust storm, a big haboob happens about once every 3 to 5 years. I mean, someone could correct me if I'm wrong. The only other thing that kind of throws people off is these monsoon flash floods. I would say they probably happen everywhere, but the reason they happen in the desert or in Phoenix in particular is because we have like a hard clay dirt, so the water doesn't get to saturate in. Like it won't get muddy. It just kind of builds up and then it flows down into a wash, and then it all kind of collects in the wash, especially up on the mountains, and then it just comes down as a wall of water. And during, and it could be crazy because it might not be raining too bad where you are, but if it was raining up there on that mountain, that wall of water is coming. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So flash floods kind of surprise people. People end up living out in places where, you know, they're out in the foothills, and then the next thing they know, they're like, "Whoa, I didn't expect this," and they try to drive through the wash. They try to drive through the flash flood. Don't be doing that. Um, Another thing that really is a big problem. I mean, it's a big problem. Wildfires. I mean, this guy, I think everyone kind of knows about this, but wildfire just basically took over the Grand Canyon this year. I don't know what the Grand Canyon is going to look like. I'm mostly worried about the north rim of the Grand Canyon, the Kaibab, which was a very thick, beautiful forest, lots of buffalo and deer, and just a beautiful forest. Hopefully, it grows back faster. They say that fire can actually short-term pain for long-term gain. We'll see. But I'm sure it'll grow back. I mean, it's a beautiful area, but fires are really bad in Arizona. I mean, we get a bad fire about once every 3 to 5 years. That's another one of those things that sometimes we'll even get 2 or 3 bad fires in a year. That's one of the downsides of having a really wet winter is once it starts to dry out around April, May, all of a sudden all of that grass is turned into kindling for a fire to just burn. Unless you get a really nice monsoon to complement it, then it's great. The desert's, you're like, this is a beautiful desert. It's been green in the winter and green in the summer. But what ends up happening is you get a green winter, spring, and then it dries up by the time summer comes around. And then you just got like basically a bunch of fire starting material all around. And then, you know, you'll see fire warnings. Don't be starting fires out in the Mogollon Rim. People want to go camp and they want to do a fire, but you can't do it because irresponsible people, they don't take care of their fire. And then that's how wildfires start. So just a shame, I know, but it is what it is. So most of this stuff, I think you guys know about, but if you guys have any other questions about any of this, we can get into it. I'll turn it over to the live chat. But I would say when you come down here, if you're looking for food, be ready to eat a lot of Mexican food, lots of tacos. We got lots of hole in the wall taco stops. I mean, you'll know it's a good taco shop if the people who work construction are also eating there on the lunch break. Those are the guys that know where to go. Okay. Trust me, especially if they serve little like those little jalapenos and carrots and lots of different varieties of salsa. You go in there, you get a carne asada burrito, you get, I don't know, whatever you like, chicken, pollo, whatever. But it's going to be really good. We got a lot of that in Arizona. We got some pretty good Mexican food. Obviously not as good as you're going to get in Mexico City, Chihuahua, or Michoacan or something like that. But we do pretty good for the U.S. I think everyone loves Mexican food. I mean, Taco Tuesdays is a thing in Phoenix. So pretty much that's like a big selling thing. And then they got the Sonoran hot dog, which I don't really get too hyped up about. But one more thing that I would say does surprise people as I turn it over to the live chat. We got really clear blue skies. And then at nighttime, we get like this open sky effect where you can see lots of stars, especially on the Mogollon Rim. But even in North Phoenix or out in the Superstitions, if you're out in Gold Canyon, you'll be able to see the stars pretty nice. I mean, it's a big, wide open sky. I always call it big sky, but that's Montana, right? So anyways, let's turn it over to the chat. We got 48 people who smashed up the like. Someone said, any recommendations for a neighborhood for a single girl in Phoenix? Seems like Scottsdale is a really good place for being a single woman, just because you're like, there's a lot of nightlife there where you can get out and meet people. I would say Arcadia area is really good. Biltmore. It seemed like I know a lot of my female friends that even ones that came from out of state or that have lived in Arizona, when they're single, seems like they gravitate towards like the Biltmore, Scottsdale, or like Arcadia. That is kind of like that little area. I wouldn't recommend anything. And the furthest southeast that you might want to go would probably be Chandler. But I wouldn't go into Gilbert. I don't think unless I don't think it's good for dating out in Gilbert, because that's all families. Queen Creek, Gilbert, even Chandler, mostly for families. Downtown Chandler does all right, I think, for a nightlife, but that area around Biltmore, maybe downtown Phoenix. Anyone else can answer that question, and I'll respond as well. Someone said, what are your thoughts about living in Mesa? Well, I've lived in Mesa. I would say it depends on where you're living in Mesa. Mesa is huge. Mesa is like 550,000 people. It's the biggest suburb in the United States, bigger than San Bernardino. So, I mean, In terms of population, it's the biggest suburb. So, I mean, it's a big place. If you're living in like Main Street, no, I wouldn't live in Main Street. I wouldn't live in what is called West Mesa. That area around downtown, I wouldn't live. I I would say like Val Vista is all right. I would say around Val Vista Lakes. It's a nice area. I like those lakeside living. Anytime you have like a lake, that's kind of cool. They got those at like Arrowhead Lakes out in Glendale or Peoria area. Then they got Val Vista Lakes. They've got Chandler's got an area around Ocotillo with lakes. I like living on those lakes. These are like man-made like lakes for golf courses and stuff. You can't swim in them or anything, but there's no crocodiles or crazy critters that come out of those lakes. But it's kind of like a nice little lifestyle, and people get these boats. They get these little pontoon boats and just tool around there. But Mesa, Las Sendas would be nice. Eastmark, I think, is nice. Eastmark is cool. Eastmark's got it going on. That's the new area of Mesa. The area around Superstition Springs Mall is all right. You know, but other than that, I mean, you're going to be locked into the city. If you're okay with, like, if you're on Southern Avenue in Greenfield or something, I mean, it's right there smack dab in the city, or right there off of US 60. Oh man, it's a city right there. I mean, your Saturdays are going to be consisting of going to Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Dutch Bros, like that. Someone said the Presidio has really great Mexican food. The Presidio. Are you talking about the Presidio in Tucson? Someone said, Terry says, another good place is my girlfriend's sister's restaurant is called the Presidio on 7th Avenue and Thomas and North 7th Street. Okay. Thank you, Terry. That's great. Well, now everyone knows. So it's called the Presidio on 7th Avenue and Thomas. What makes it so good? I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying what's like the main dish that we need to try. I know, like when I go to El Encanto in North Phoenix, if you guys love Mexican food, one of my favorite restaurants, seriously, trust me on this, go to Cave Creek at anytime, just check and make sure El Encanto is open. I used to work at El Encanto as a busboy for 2 years. The place hasn't changed at all. I mean, it's still the same nostalgia as when I was a kid. It's called El Encanto, which means the enchanted. It's got like a pond with turtles and ducks and big trees, and people get married there, and got great food. People get the pollo fondito, but last time I went there, I got like the carne fondito. I just didn't want the chicken. I wanted the beef, and so they did it like a chimichanga kind of thing. It was good. But El Encanto in Cave Creek, check that out for sure. Thank me later, for real. I mean, hopefully the chef that I had is still there. I mean, if the chef is there, the food should be good. You could get a bad chef that one day, and I don't know, bad service, but 99% of the time I go to El Encanto, I'm like, yep. You get some nice Mexican food with like a Pacifico with the lime, and you're chilling out there. They got the misters on. It's a good place to go in the evening time, I would say. But in the spring or the fall, it's a good place to go in the daytime. Someone said, is Sierra Vista a nice place for a family? Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's a military town. You guys know that, right? But it's good. I mean, it's getting away from the reputation of just being a military town. Thank you to the 54 people who smashed up the likes. If you guys smash up the likes, I'll keep going. We can make it a long one, but we need to get the likes up. So if you're watching and you haven't liked it, please do so, because that helps with the algorithm. The algorithm YouTube, it's an AI. We're always dealing with AI these days. I mean, I talk to people about AI all day, how this stuff is working out. I would say, they always say, oh, AI is going to take your job. But what I've noticed is actually everything I've used AI for has made my job easier. So yeah, I mean, I heard the whole rumors, oh, AI is going to take your job. It's going to take your job. It's going to, this and that. From what I've seen, I would say, if you haven't already started like playing around with ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude or any of that stuff, the chat bots, they're better than Google. It's better than just Google search. So if you haven't already started dabbling in some of that stuff, at least the chat bots, I would recommend doing that. And you'll see, I mean, everyone that I talk to, it's usually like an evolution. Like the first time they ever use it, they're kind of like, all right. And then they use it again and they're like, all right. Oh, it's like Facebook. When the first time you ever use Facebook, you slowly but surely started to use it. This thing doesn't have as much chaos as social media does. You go on social media and you're just like, delete. I want to delete the whole app. like, get Facebook off my phone. Every time I log in there, between their ads, which are almost always depressing ads, like they don't use ads that are like encouraging, like they don't even know what I actually want, I guess. I mean, they think that like, I mean, they got like all the stuff on their ads that I don't want. Most of it's like medical fear mongering. I hate that stuff, that medical fear mongering. You know, like that's why I stopped watching news, is because they got a prescription pill for everything they're trying to sell you. It's like, dude, is the whole world just sick? I don't even know how these other countries get along without all these big pharma things, you know? But anyway, I mean, AI is not really like that. It's kind of different. Someone said, I do gas utility, no AI going to lay pipe. Hey, no, yeah, but no, this is where you could use AI in your job. If you're ever on the job and you have a quick question and you don't know where to get an answer, your boss isn't answering. I'm not saying the AI is always right, but you could actually type in there, what's the best pipe fitting? What's the best glue for this particular job? You could literally say, I mean, depending on the scenario, you could say, hey, I'm running a 35-inch pipe. You know, you could even do mathematical equations on there. I did a calculation where we were trying to figure out the value of each person's wealth when they're being a member of something. It was like there's 7 million people, and the organization has a net worth of 2.3 billion dollars. How much is each membership worth to that company? And it gave me the answer within like 2 seconds. If I would have had to try to do the calculation on the calculator, it would have taken a lot longer. I'm just giving you an example of how you can use it in anything. Like if I was to build something in my backyard, you know, you would go on Google and be like, or YouTube, you'd be like, hey, how do I do this? I know you're a gas professional, so you obviously got it all in your head. But I'm just saying, it can happen. You can come across a situation where you're like, I'm a little bit stumped on this one. Who do I call? Who would know the answer? You just go right on that chat app, on that chat GPT. You'd be surprised. It'll give you some directions to go. And then, you know, you get an idea. You go down to the Home Depot and you talk to one of the experts. Next thing you know, you're solving the problem a lot faster. That's just an example of how efficient those things can be. I've seen it in a lot of different ways. Genesis says, I love this channel. How is living in Coolidge? Oh, as of right now, I wouldn't really recommend living in Coolidge if you're a lifestyle person. If you're someone if you found a very beautiful house, like if you found a beautiful rental or something like that, or a beautiful house, you know, for a really good price, yeah, sure, you could live in Coolidge. I think that would be a good idea. But if you're someone who wants restaurants nearby, wants conveniences, wants parks and all that, Coolidge doesn't have that yet. And it's very far away to get anything even remotely close to that. So just take that into consideration. Someone said, AI is the best corporate world. I love it. Yeah, AI is pretty good. But, you know, I had this conversation on my Facebook, actually. I was like, you know, think about this. If AI replaces all the jobs of the people, then who's going to have the money? How are people going to have the money to buy the things that AI is going to produce? All these robots, you know, it's like if all these AI robots are going to replace everyone's job, how are people going to get the money to buy the things that on Amazon? You know, if Amazon's going to replace all the workers, who's going to have the economic value to buy everything off Amazon? Unless they're just trying to replace humans and just do away with us and run us off the road, you know, I don't know. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but Intune Game says, watching from Glendale. Where's everyone else tuning in from today? I love seeing where everyone's tuning in. Princess Michelle says, we like Plaza Bonita on Carefree, and we've been to El Encanto too. How did you like El Encanto? Galleria says, why do most of the homes in Green Valley have bars on the windows and doors? Is it not safe there being close to the border? Oh, good question. I would say that might be a factor, but Green Valley is far enough away from the border. I mean, you know, down in Green Valley, up down south a little bit more further towards Nogales on that road, you'll see the border checkpoints. I mean, you would think the Border Patrol is doing a really good job of cleaning it out like that. But South Tucson's kind of dangerous in general. I mean, South Tucson's actually kind of dangerous. I mean, so I would say it probably has something to do with safety. Someone can answer that if they know better than I do. But I don't know the exact reason. Currently watching in downtown Phoenix. Hello from Southern California, Colorado Springs, Manchester, Tennessee, Saratoga, New York. Someone said, I live in Cottonwood, Arizona, small town, cool place. Been here 6 years. How do you like living in Cottonwood? Cottonwood's great. Cottonwood's good if you're someone who likes to wake up in the morning and, get a nice big stretch and go, oh, it feels good to be out here, get some fresh air, right? You look out, you'll see some birds, you might see some wildlife, but it's limited. I mean, they got a Target, they got a Walmart, they got the Verde River that goes through there. I mean, how many times are you going to go to the Verde before you get tired of the dirty Verde? Why do they call it the dirty Verde? I mean, you could guess why. I mean, it's just a dirty river. It's not it's actually a green river, but sometimes it gets muddy. That's just a nickname for it, the dirty Verde. But yeah, they got Jerome nearby. I mean, you could go up to Sedona. You could go out to the Sycamore Canyon area. I mean, it's nice out there. Just Jim says, good morning, Jeff. Another sunny day here in Phoenix. Yeah, it's quite hot. I mean, actually, July was nice weather. They did a statistic. I just saw it. One of the meteorologists in Phoenix, what he said was, he was like, we had one of the coolest Julys we've had in the last 5 years, but it's still the 5th hottest on record. So, I mean, we've had a stretch for the last 5 to 10 years where it's just been so hot in Arizona. It's like, whenever we do get something back down to what we would get in the early 2000s or in the 90s, we consider that a win because it has been getting exponentially hotter in Phoenix. Now, what's causing that? That's a subject for debate. But people say it's the concrete jungle. It's all that concrete that's been poured and paved across the desert, replacing all the natural vegetation and dirt with just cement and concrete. And it's kind of created like a heat shield. So they say that could be playing a factor. I mean, some people say that it's just a phenomena. We don't know. I mean, we can get into it a whole other way. It's cloudy here in LA and so cold that my heater is running at 8:41 a.m. What? Really? That's wild. Gallon says across the lands, tuning in from Paw Rump, Nevada, looking at Oro Valley, Green Valley for retirement next year. Maybe Oracle. Thanks for your thoughts. I mean, Oracle's beautiful. Tubac is beautiful. Anywhere close to the Madera Canyon would be beautiful as well. Elliot says they changed how they measure temperature. Oh, is that right? Like, I mean, at the airport, they measure from the airport. Like, that's like the hottest place in Phoenix, right? So, I mean, it couldn't be any hotter than there. Someone says the weather diversity is amazing. Too hot. Visit northern Arizona. Live in high country. Anytime you can go up to a high country. High country isn't necessarily northern Arizona. High country could be found, down in Patagonia. They got 3,000 or 4,000 feet of elevation. That's where they got a lot of ocotillos. That's more of a chaparral. A lot of monsoon season in that area of southern Arizona. It's beautiful around Patagonia. Yeah, and then you go up above into Sonoyta. You've got like a Arizona wine country out there. It's kind of nice. Someone said, hey, from Waddell. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in and smashing up the likes. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm going to get going. We did a nice chat. Good to see you all. And have a great weekend.